midst of the sea, tossed with waves, and for the wind was contrary. And in the fourth watch, and the scholars said that's between 3 and 6 a.m. in the morning. Boy, can you imagine a storm in the ocean between 3 and 6? It's a mess to drive on 94 in the rain. And you on a boat between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. and Jesus is not with you. You on a boat with some people whose faith is just as messed up as yours. I'm gonna preach in a minute, but you gotta be careful who you hang out with, because everybody can't help you. You running with people now, they can't help you. Their faith is just as messed up as yours. And now it's 3 a.m. in the morning, you on the midst of the sea, and Jesus has not shown up. The Bible says in verse 26, and when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled. And you would be too at 3 and 6 in the morning. It said it's a spirit, and they cried out for fear. But straightway Jesus spake unto them and said, be of good cheer, it is I. Be not afraid. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it be thou, bid me to come unto thee on the water. And he said, come. And Peter was to come down out of the ship, and he walked on the water. He did it. He walked on the water to go to Jesus, but when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid and began to sink, and he cried, saying, Lord, save me. And immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand and caught him and said unto him, O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt? And when they were come into the ship, the wind ceased. Verse number 30. And when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid. He started to sink. He cried out, Lord, save me. Look at somebody like you love them tonight and say, neighbor, you can't afford to lose focus. It is critical to understand that God is not into casual conversation. If he interrupts heaven, he's not telling you how good looking you are. He's not into telling you how wonderful your house looks, and I'm proud that you brought that new Lexus. If God speaks, I assure you, he's dealing with a sin issue somewhere. And if he doesn't bring it up immediately, it's going to swing around in the midst of your conversation. Because sin is paramount in the mind of God. And because it's wreaking havoc in the earth, God says, I have to deal with sin and also deal with the sinner. And if I were to give it justice on both sides, none of it could survive. So I have to deal with sin and eradicate it, but save the sinner and then change his mind so he'll stop sinning. And this is why God has to reveal what's in his mind in order that you can understand how he feels about things that are in the earth. When he deals with sin, he has to deal with character, because character is linked to my problem. I'm a sinner from time to time, and I hate that. Sometimes you wake up and you just say, God, I just wish you would just cut it off. But if he cuts it completely off, it will destroy me. And God is so awesome that he'll take the thing thing that's getting on my nerve and flip it so it makes me a better person if I listen to his word. Don't sit here tonight like you got it all together, honey, because you don't. And none of us do. As a matter of fact, Moses was so meek. He was so meek until you would look at him and say, it's obvious he never has done anything in his life until he spoke to God and God spoke to him. And God told Moses one time, put your hand in your bosom, the hidden place of the heart. I want you to pull it out. And he pulled it out. His hand was full of leprosy. And what God was showing is, I don't care how wonderful you look when you come to church, how well you sing, how well you preach, and how well you cover from everybody else. Stick your hand deep down inside the secret place. And God says, I know some stuff about you that if I were to pull your coattail right now, he wouldn't be able to respond. He says, pull it out. He says, because I want you to see that I know what's in you. Now, you might fool mama and them, but he said, you ain't fooling me. And so once Moses discovered that God discovered what's in him, it humbled him, but thank God he didn't leave him like that. He said, put your hand back into your bosom. And when he pulled it back, it was clean as a baby's hand. You ought to be glad that God has covered you so tough tonight that people can't look at you to see the stuff that was really on the inside. On the inside. We ought to be thanking God tonight that we've gone through the fire and come out not smelling like smoke. And it's a joy to be able to talk to people, but they can't see all that you have been through because he has strengthened you. And surely greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. He's not into casual conversation. He has to deal with sin. As he with sin, he has to deal with the character. In order to deal with the character, he says, it's because I'm about to do something with your life. Now follow me. I won't be long. I'm going to keep the time. It's in his mind, but it must be revealed. When it's revealed, he catches me by the collar and says, hear the message. The message now is, your name is such and such, but you shall be. Because he calls those things that are not as if though they were. And since he's Alpha and Omega, he has the beginning to look at where you are and can also see where you shall be. The problem is when he speaks to me, I begin to feel inadequate because he has to show me myself. And when he shows me myself, he gives me a vision of what is going to happen in my life, but does not give me all the details. When that happens, he gives me the gift in order that the gift can equip me and hold me until it's made known.